All right, you ready? Yep. All right, we're gonna get started. I don't think this is gonna take the allotted time, but in any event, we can maybe have some discussion. So, compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, I wish to state that on February 24th, the notice of this budget workshop meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel, Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded and will be available on UTTV Channel 97 on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct this announcement made a part of the minutes of this meeting. We will forego the salute to the flag till the regular scheduled meeting, but Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Barr, absent this evening. Mr. Coggins?
Here.
Mr. Corson?
Present.
Mr. Young, also absent this evening. Mayor Plummer?
Here.
3 members.
And let the record reflect that both Mr. Barr and Mr. Young are on vacation, and that's why they're not able to attend the meetings tonight. So there has been a lot of preliminary discussions between the committeemen, not more than one-on-one, because we're not allowed to have more than 2 people discuss things. There has been discussion, mainly the discussion is about the departments that we're responsible for. There's been some further discussion with the supervisors of each department, and there's been subsequent meetings with the auditor of the township. So John actually has some final, well, probably preliminary final numbers of where we're going with this, and I will pass it over to him and we'll go through this.
All right. Based on some of the conversation we had at the last budget workshop, we have made some changes in some salary lines.
Would you like me to run down, because it was
That-
kind of quick at the close of the
that
last budget
probably,
workshop?
yes.
Would you like me to run down where
That
we
would be-
kind of left off at the last workshop?
Yep, because I just tore up my last sheet.
There was $10,000 cut from the computer line to remove the Wi-Fi request. There was public information because of an ad that was okayed by Township Committee. There was an additional $3,000 added to that line. There was a full-time EMS salary cut from the budget. There was also court salary and wage because of a retirement cut from the budget. There was an increase of $10,000 to the streetlight line. Capital, we removed purchase of office equipment, $16,000, and then the electronic entry of $85,000 was removed, and also part-time worker at the community center, that salary line was cut for $18,000.
Okay, in addition to that, we had to work through and get to the capital line. So where we ended up, for capital.
Are you talking about at the close of last meeting, or?
No, I'm talking, well, close of last meeting versus this meeting. All right, so there were a couple things that were on the fence at the close of last meeting. One of them was an allocation for the engineering for the Historical Society. All right, that allocation was removed. There was 40.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay, that was removed in the amount of 24,500. 4,500 of that was actually for the beach patrol shed. All right, the next item was purchase of recreation equipment for 44,000. That was reduced to 15,000.
That's correct.
That item is slated for a large scoreboard to finish off the Amanda's Field baseball project. All right, there was office equipment, $16,000 removed. Under public safety equipment, we had an allocation for $30,000 for a vehicle. We have changed that allocation to $34,500. $30,000 will be for the public safety vehicle. $4,500 will be for the beach patrol equipment. The beach patrol equipment was actually just remapped to a different line item. It was put under public safety as opposed to repairs for municipal building. That was done in the interest of just tidying up our accounts. Right, we had
Well,
9,000.
Why aren't we also discussing, you know, to finally replace some of the beach stands with that?
If we
Like we
find
had-
that a shed is not.
Bill, how many beach stands do we still need to replace?
As of now, pretty good. The two tower stands are still serviceable, so they would be the first two that we probably look to replace. As far as I know, we have one wood stand that we still use at least 20 pieces of that.
That's wooden, right?
That's the only wood stand we have left.
Okay. Well, in the event that the shed is not the viable option with some of the stuff that's going on over there, then that money would be available for the beach patrol to do some replacement of the remaining wooden stands. That way we could, you know, kind of work that out. Now, there was 9,000 in there for an Amanda's Field project, which included the building of a stage for some of the events. That 9,000 was removed. There was 77,000 in there for the purchase of EMS equipment, which included a trailer and a utility truck. That has been changed. There's $15,000 in there now for a trailer. In terms of the utility truck, there have been some early quotations or some early looks at what an ambulance can be purchased for under some of the municipal purchasing contracts that we have available to us, which leaves us ample money that if the utility truck is still needed, there's enough in the bond to cover that as well. For the Strathmere projects, there was $45,000 originally allocated. That was for some bulkhead repairs that needed to be done in Strathmere. In addition to that, it was for some crossover work. That line item has been changed to $30,000, allocating $15,000 to the bulkhead replacement and another $15,000 towards some crossovers. Additional crossover work can be pushed into the following year. As Mrs. Spiegel had mentioned before, the $85,000 for the electronic entry system had been removed. So what that does is that takes our original appropriation requests for capital improvements from $420,500 to $209,500. With that,
We did also increase the capital improvement line.
That's true.
Up to $75,000.
right, we put an additional $25,000 in the capital improvement fund line. The capital improvement fund is there to allow us, as we go forward, in the event that we need to bond, we have to have a minimum amount of money in that capital improvement fund. And the more we have in that fund, then the greater our bonding capacity is. So at this point, it's going to enable us further down the road, if need be, to appropriate more under a bond. But that's-
And we also kept a $40,000 for the beach replenishment.
Correct.
in there,
$40,000 for beach replenishment remain the same. All right, so with that, the tax rate from the municipality to the taxpayers of Upper Township will remain 17.171 cents per 100 dollars. So the tax rate has not changed from the township to the taxpayers from 2016 to 2017. Now, There are also going to be budgets that will be submitted by the county. There will be a budget submitted by the school. So I'm not speaking for the school or the county on their budgets, but the component.
And the fire district.
And
But
the
they
fire
already-
district, yes.
That has already been voted on.
But the component of the tax bill, which is 9.8% of your tax bill, which comes from the township, will remain the same, provided the value of your property remains the same.
Now, do you have a comparison of what that breaks down to, just like for a $100,000 home? Like, what would school tax be versus,
If for a $100,000 home, based on last year's rate, or based on the estimate of this year's rate, your taxes from the school will be $1,300. Your taxes from the township will be $171.
so if your house is assessed at 300,000, you times it by 3, but you also need to include what the county tax is and the fire district, but
Correct.
as a comparison, you know, because a lot of folks still get confused because the township is the collection agency. They think when their taxes go up, a lot of times, you know, we're contributing to that huge increase, and in fact, the local purpose tax part of it is a very small proportion of the overall
Is
tax.
there any way when we print our tax bill, a pie? There's a pie. Is there a pie?
There's not a
I
pie.
don't remember seeing the pie chart. I'd love to put that on there, because
Yeah,
Yes,
there's,
I understand.
it goes
But
line by line.
If we could do it in a pie chart, people would actually probably understand it a lot better.
Yes. I think we ought to try to get that done. I don't know.
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, but inserts would be very, well, that would be difficult, because you'd have to put each
That'd probably,
individual person.
that'd bring the cost of our
We
mailing
have,
up too.
we have a machine that inserts. It shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah.
I think it would be a good educational, you know, I know over the years, you know, walking around talking to people during campaigning and those kind of things, you know, obviously the tax, what you're assessed, that you're, you know, responsible from a tax standpoint, you know, people say, that's the biggest, you know, concern, my taxes keep going up. And yes, there's some, the township committee has contributed towards that over the years, but a relatively small proportion of that is, you know, from the township. And again, you know, if $171 for 100,000, that's what it was, right? $171. So, you know, you're literally talking on a $300,000 home, it's, you know, something like, you know, it's $400 and some dollars or whatever, so it's a relative.
$513,000 on a $300,000 home.
On what?
On a $300,000 home.
$513.
It's $513 from the township, and that includes your trash pickup, the maintenance of the road,
Plowing,
recreation
everything.
programs.
So, you know, it's not a substantial amount. Do you want to ask if anybody has any comments from our supervisors or whatever?
Welcome to step up and
And just so
We'll
you
address
know,
any
I think,
questions.
it's my understanding, and Barbara Spiegel, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're going to introduce the budget at the next meeting,
That's correct. March 13th, at our 7:30 meeting, we plan to introduce the budget.
and then it will be the April 10th meeting is when we'll have the public
No.
hearing. That's
No, it will,
what Leon said.
okay, I'm sorry, because he and I had talked differently. We thought it was gonna be the end of April, okay.
No, he said you need 4 weeks,
Right.
and you can't
the
do it.
13th would give us, okay, when we had talked about maybe a different date.
Right,
April
so
10th
it'll
to
be the
introduce-
April 10th meeting, we'll have
to
the public
adopt.
hearing and final adoption,
Okay, so the next meeting is March 6th?
March 13th.
March 13th,
to
okay, gotcha.
introduce.
And then he said that we need a 4-week waiting period, at which
We
time
need
people
28
can
days.
April 10th.
continue to comment, and the township committee has the ability to adjust the budget during that period
If
for
we
the
make,
final.
if we make substantial
Right.
changes though, it's another 4-week waiting, I believe.
I think we need to verify
It
that.
depends.
I mean, I don't
Depends.
see that happening, but,
Right, it depends, you can still introduce, if you amend your budget, if you stay within certain parameters, so.
right. Yeah, I mean, we can make changes, if it's found that, that we've overlooked something that's a necessity, that can be included up to and including to the time of the final adoption.
Correct, within certain parameters, otherwise you're starting again.
So, I don't know, I'll open it up to see if anybody would like to address the township committee at this point. I mean, like I said, we probably could have gotten away of starting this at 6:30, but we wanted to make sure we had enough time to fully discuss it, so.
Rich, do you guys have the electronic sign which is
Yes.
Anyone else?
The full-time EMS position, are we at all gonna look at this? We can't keep continuing with part-timers, or we'll tell you we're capped on the amount of hours they can work. We're up against that wall every day.
Right, well, part of the discussion will be, and that, I don't want to be discussing and hiring and firing during this point, but there has been this preliminary discussion with Mr. Morgan as to which way, which direction the township committee thinks we should go, at least for the next year anyway.
I just add to that, that's at times in the past, our operations on the beach, if a rescue squad personnel is not available to be at the beach, then, we go a day without a rescue squad personnel, nothing may happen, but if there is a medical emergency and we don't have someone from the squad there, it really puts us in a very bad position.
Who said that we were trying to do that?
I don't know, I just thought that at times it becomes a staffing issue.
It's the first person that we have to come, unfortunately.
I mean,
Can't go over that. How we can split.
is there a backup? I mean, obviously, if there's a 911 emergency on the beach, and our rescue squad personnel aren't there, see how our Ocean City responds, right?
They do respond.
Ocean City would respond.
It's more of a liability that according to the guidelines, both for emergency operations, that we should have an EMS personnel on staff every day. So the fact that we do have a response from Ocean City Fire that was over, but we don't have enough township personnel, which by the standards of the Township Chiefs and the New Jersey Department of Health, we should.
And we traditionally do,
We generally do.
yes.
Well, we have, I'm not putting Mr. Morgan on the trial here, but, we know what we need to do, so we have to take care of that. And whichever means to take care of it, it will have to be accomplished. Anyone else? I don't know what procedurally, somebody better help me here, like, we have a lot of time left, but, I mean, I don't know necessarily, we need to continue this, at this point, because a lot of the work has been done, and there doesn't seem to be any comments from the supervisors.
We adjourn the meeting and have a social hour.
There's no further comment?
Yeah, we can. We can adjourn at this point unless there's any additional.
Well,
We
I'm
could
I'm
all
also
run to
concerned
the
that
bars
the
real quick.
meeting's being video recorded, so we can't have an hour of dental music playing or something, while we're sitting here doing nothing, so.
We actually post them as two separate videos. We do the budget hearing
Yeah.
workshop and then that, so we do interrupt that for commercial break opportunity.
They were
It won't be-
Mr.
advertised as two separate meetings.
Mr. Mayor, I move we close this portion of the meeting, because obviously, public Input's done, we're done. I move we adjourn to our regular scheduled meeting.
Well, we're not gonna start the meeting till 7:30, because that's what we
Should we
have.
adjourn to our regular scheduled meeting?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, call the roll.
Mr. Barr is absent. Mr. Coggin?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young's absent. Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried, 3 in favor.
So we can
Meeting adjourned.